you everyone for joining us today, coming straight from the Dean of Students office here at Humber College. I want to thank these students here for joining us today. I am also a student. Knowing that Women's Month is coming up, we do have a lot to discuss today, and I'm excited to kick off our conversations. And we'll just start off by saying, what does inspire to include means to you? I'll go with Anna.
I think a big part of Inspire Inclusion is kind of including people very loudly to kind of spread the awareness and allow other people to start including as well, instead of just kind of including them quietly. It's kind of letting everyone know and letting them know that they're overly included in a certain area so that they feel more comfortable, and that other people that may be like those people can come as well, and they can kind of make a community.
And how do you say you define inclusion in the contents of gender equality and women's rights? Killa?
So in terms of specifically pertaining to women, I think inclusion is something that we are aiming for. And I think the best way to explain it would be, it's the want of a woman to be treated with respect in every regard of life. And I think we just want to feel not more than, but just equal to everyone else.
Yeah, I like that. Does anybody else? Yeah, Aranya?
Hi, I'm Ananya. With what she said, I would include that inclusion means, for me, it's like creating an environment where everybody feels like they are being valued, heard, and everybody has the equal opportunities altogether, no matter of what individual they are or what gender they belong to.
We've heard about inclusion and inspiring others to be their best selves, irrespective of the gender, their race, their sexual identity. How can we ensure that we make these workplace, these school environment, classrooms more inclusive to women?
Hi, I'm Kingsley, right? That's my name. Oh, good. So, in line with the question, I would try to kind of break it down this way. It's bigger than it seems. It's about breaking down systems. Because let's be honest, the ideologies that form the institutions, the society we live in, ignored these conversations for the longest time. So there are people who were born into those times who don't know what it's like or don't know what it's about. And worse still, because it's been so normalized over the years, when you raise the conversation, people are like, what are you talking about? What happens to our homes? Where's the place of the boy child knowing, to understand, to coexist with women in society? And we can have all these conversations for all I care. But if we don't start from our homes to make our kids understand. So home, institutions, and self-education maybe, for those who do not have the privilege of learning from home and spaces that could help them.
We're all students at Humber College, whether it be IGS, Lakeshore, North Campus, right? And what do you think these institutions can do to continue to support women, not only women, but the women from diverse backgrounds and identities, for us to thrive academically and socially?
So I think something that Humber can do, or maybe even just continue to expand on, is education. I think it's an old Jamaican saying, but it's the truth, so I'm going to say it. But education is power. And I think that emphasizing education, it doesn't have to necessarily be targeted towards women, but just having it available and giving women the opportunity to continue and learn about like finances. And it doesn't even have to be program related, but just having extra resources to help us further any career that we have. And I think finances and being financially independent as a woman is something that's very important.
Me coming here as an international student, like I had a lot of challenges to face as a woman, where it be just going for a night shift here or just coming to college on a transit, just celebrating that, celebrating all of our opportunities, achievements can be pretty uplifting for us as a woman.
I don't know about you folks, but I'm so passionate about my field. And I've noticed that even while I was doing it in my country, I'm actually a woman in engineering, and I would face so much obstacles when it comes down to the men and if I'm educated or not, my age, literally everything that you can, have prejudice against, I was encountering it. If those spaces aren't created for me to have my voices be heard, I'm going to create that space for myself and for anybody else to follow me, right? And with that being said, I think it was myself and maybe 3 other women on the construction site, and after I decided to make that change, to be that difference, that's when I noticed that when it comes onto our site meetings, everything else was done differently. So what advice do you folks have for any other female, right, that are in STEM, politics, even the business fields, things that are usually male dominated? What advice do you have for women that want to pursue careers in leadership and in male dominated fields? Coco?
Yeah. Honestly, I truly believe that women, we need to stand together and speak up for a lot of things. It tends to be when you have someone else with you, you feel more confident to do things. And I just feel like if women as a whole, we can all collectively come together and say, yes, let's do this thing, we would be able to work to it.
I think the main key is to go in with confidence and stand up for yourself and say, this is my space. This is my place at the table, and you need to respect my place at the table because I earned my place here and I worked hard to get here, and I'll stay here. And there's no getting rid of me. And that's it.
Having female leaders, teachers, and mentors was super helpful. And I think that's something that we need to maybe bring to other programs, is that the women that are professionals in that program or in that job niche, we need to bring them and introduce young girls to them so that they know that they have some kind of help.
Till a certain age, women in acting career, are highly appreciated. Once they cross a certain age, the roles they be getting is totally different. The appreciation they will be getting is totally different. Why? Because their shell life is over. Now they've crossed a certain age. In business environment, it's always like, oh, it's your age to getting married. Now you'll have kids to be taken care of. You cannot give so much of your time when you're on a certain position. So maybe we will recommend somebody from a different gender who can take up this position. So yeah, I mean, we should now encourage that no, women are all-rounders and we can handle everything equally well. We can prioritize our things, our duties really nice and well.
And that brings us into our next, aspect of this discussion, where we're going to be finding out ways in which, or strategies and approaches that you folks have used in the past, right? Or things that you intend to do in the future, and how you can help to break down these barriers to inclusion, right? How do you think our allies can support us? I'll take it to Coco.
Yeah. Again, back to speaking up. Speak up when you feel like you've been harassed. Speak up when you feel like you've been discriminated. Speak up on misogyny. A lot of people don't tend to know what they are doing is wrong till you tell them it is wrong. Like that also goes back to what he said. People only know what they know. This is why education is key. You're not only speaking up for yourself, you're also educating somebody. You don't know if you correct this person today, this could help them change their ways in the future. You don't know. So it's just very important that people speak up and don't stay silent. Don't be silent and just say your truth.
You need to understand someone the way they are. Because if I don't understand you the way you are, there's no way I can put myself in your shoes and then understand what you are going through. So if you are going through something, I need to break down every step of what you are going through and why are you in that situation. What brings you to that situation first? So when I realize that, then I will be able to support in any way I can. But if I'm just listening, I'm not breaking down whatever you're going through to now understand it from your own perspective. I can use my family as an example. My mom and dad give birth, they married late, and then, trying to make sure they have some things in place before they got married and all. So when they got married, they gave birth to me, and my mom had to take a pause in her career, and then dad was the one doing most of the things. And at some point, it felt like, oh, this is the time for my wife to start growing. So we put a pause on, you know what, we're going to put pause on giving birth, and then you grow also. So at some point when we were working towards that, my mom got promoted. And then some guys in the same office were like, oh, she shouldn't be in that role. She's a woman. Why will she be in that role? But my dad was there to support because he understood her and why she didn't grow early. So you need to understand people from their own perspective. Don't use your perspective to deal with everybody around you.
Thank you, Ahmad. I think there's a popular quote as well that says, men of quality supports gender equality, right? And you can see that resonating through your family and your bloodline. And I appreciate you taking the time out all the way from IGS to come and, share with us today. Another question that I'd like to find out from you guys so we can share with our other Humber, schoolmates and other campuses that are watching, other schools that are watching. How do you ensure that International Women's Day, what recommendations do you have to big institutions like Humber to ensure that International Women's Day remains relevant and impactful, right, in this day and age and in the many years to come? Kingsley?
Land with the biggest splash, make the most noise. It's as simple as that. But by extension, we now need to kind of consider the quality of the noise, right? And not just noise. Because at some point, if noise is going to attract attention at first and is trivialized because it's discovered not to offer value, at some point we get used to the noise that we no longer respond, right? So the first is a lot of noise, but a lot of quality noise. And on an institutional level, find a way to keep the central theme around women. Now that's quality noise, right? Show capacity. And if you can, by extension, use that same avenue to kind of celebrate achievements in that regard. I'd like to mention something though. I also find that in the conversations around celebrating women, it's important that we celebrate men who celebrate women. It's not because I like to receive gifts, but not because of that, but I feel like it's one of those subtle ways to keep the conversation going, right?
I think one thing that we should do with this International Women's Day is we should all come together in some kind of form, and men and women, whether that be a big seminar, and just to stop, as you said, all the other noise and to bring everyone together. I feel like we can be a lot louder than when we're all separately kind of celebrating this time.
Equality for women is justice and progress for all, right? We are needed in every single space to provide that perspective to allow any organization to succeed. Given the intersectionality of gender equity issues, is there a way that burnout might uniquely manifest among women who are affected by multiple layers of inequity? And are there any strategies that can be implemented to address and even mitigate those challenges effectively?
I constantly tell myself that I am good enough. I constantly tell myself that because I have been discriminated against, this doesn't mean my achievement and my accomplishments are any less than that of someone else who has got it. Especially like now, getting a job is real hard. And especially if you go in for a job interview and you notice that your demographic is not what is really being hired in that place, you already feel intimidated to go for what you want. But I still say go for what you want, because you never know that you could even be what they need. So you just never give up, basically. That's just what I say.
I experience burnout a lot, and it's funny because it's not something a lot of people talk about. No one says like, "Oh, you're doing all these great things, but like how do you feel after?" It's just we focus on the, well, you did it. And I think a lot of that comes from, kind of like Coco said, you know, obviously me personally, I am a black woman, but I know all women probably feel the same in some regard. What a normal person would do to get where you want to go, you feel like you need to do double. You need to double it. And it's hard because, of course, you want to put yourself in a position where you're going to be in the best position. But to get there, you also have to work really, really hard. And I think there has to be a balance between working hard and appreciating the work you've done already. And I think that's a problem that a lot of people, not even just women, a lot of people face, is you accomplish so many different things and you don't take the time to hold on 1 second because I just did this great amazing thing instead of just moving on to the next thing. You have to take a minute and say, hold on, I just spoke on this podcast and it's great and I got to meet all these lovely people, instead of, okay, I spoke and okay, I'm gone and I'm Starbucks and this and the coffee and the study and the homework. So what I'm trying to say is, to avoid feeling overwhelmed and burnt out and just not appreciating yourself, appreciate yourself. Take a step back. I went to this thing recently and a lady said, and it stuck with me, instead of trying to fill more in your day, do less, more intentional. And what that means is you might not have the most productive day in the world, but don't beat yourself up about it. Say, oh my gosh, I worked so hard this day and this day is different and this day is different. And you don't need to jam pack your schedule. It's something I'm learning. You don't need to jam pack your schedule every single day to feel accomplished. You can be accomplished sitting at home watching TV. And that is something that you've earned, and you need to respect yourself for it, because everything you do is important. Everything you do.
One thing I constantly tell myself is I am currently at a place in my life that I used to pray for. So things that you are looking forward to are going to come. So just keep reminding yourself that you are at a place in your life that you used to think would never come, but you are there right now. So just constantly encourage yourself. And that's just what I believe will keep you going.
Basically, intersectionality is, in plain terms, right? How you position in society across various matrices. For example, you're a woman, you're black, you're lesbian, you're, multiple, basically you're judged based on multiple criteria, right? Women and people that struggle with multiple levels of discrimination sometimes can find the inner strength to keep showing up, to keep fighting, even when all the odds are against you. But for how long? I think when you raise the question of intersectionality and speak of burnout, we should continue that conversation into avoiding it in the first place. We make this thing seem so trivial. Oh, okay. You guys want representation, you want visibility. We've given you Women's Day. We've given you the wonderful media representation out there. We've given you one day, and you guys have had your day in the sun. What more do you want? It seems like one time we create the ceremonies around it, then we should be done. Isn't that what you wanted? But the question is that what you wanted? I will rephrase that. Is that what we need? So I think burnout will definitely happen, as given. But more than that, the approaches to coping will be things like bonding together as women, men supporting women, and the last part, which is what you mentioned earlier, listening. But I will say this, like I heard just 2 hours earlier today, someone said the biggest skill in listening is not just hearing the words, but listening to why the words had to be said in the first place. Fortunately, that second part is never said in the conversation. You have to decipher for yourself. If you need attention and you go about, you're not giving me this, you're not giving me that, it takes someone who's emotionally sensitive and self-aware to see beyond the words being said. So, men supporting women, women bonding together altruistically to make this work. And with a lot of education and love efforts, like I said before, maybe we can get this party on the road.
Thank you guys so much for being a part of this. It's International Women's Day is coming up, and I thank you guys so much for sharing everything that you can in how we can encourage not only our peers but also major institutions to make certain policies to be able to have everybody feel included and like they belong, right? We talked about value, we talked about leadership, we spoke about a community, right? Thank you guys so much for joining us. Have a wonderful day. Happy Women's Day.